throughout my career, the second half of that 20, I can't remember when it was, 1981, 82, was it? And the first half of when we got promoted into the top league was the best goalkeeping that I did in my whole of my career. Definitely, yeah. Yeah, but I think there's so many memories of Graham that you need to go right to the back of your mind to pick them all out. But certainly,
I think he simplified everything for us all. I think he made things sound simple. And when he started doing the little graphs every 4 games about crosses and free kicks and set plays and how we scored goals, and how many crosses you were getting in, how many shots you had. He was doing all that long before anybody did stats. And I think that was something important. Plus, I thought when I joined Watford, I joined an athletics club. We trained that much. But, and like Ross, you touched on it earlier, but it did make you feel like, we were fitter than anybody. And I remember we used to win games in the last 20 minutes, and that was superior fitness. When we overrun the opposition, they couldn't withstand us, and we just kept bombarding them with crosses and pressure. And it made it simple if you looked at it from his point of view. And he said, when we have the ball, we're 4-2-4, and we don't have the ball, we're 4-4-2. I mean, that was straightforward as well.
Yeah, it's very true. When we go back, it's like remembering all the hours on the training pitch, and you never knew when you were going to get home or even stop for lunch. Sometimes he'd keep you out there for hours, and you go right through lunchtime and things like that. So that was the effort that we all put in, and of course it was repeat, and until everyone knew the system and where to be at what time and everything else. And certainly as an attacker, it was, the front post and the back post. And you still see it today, how important those two positions are. So many goals come from them.
Yeah.
That was a big one for me. Never getting off the training pitch.
No, I remember sometimes you used to get a break. And I thought, we'd worked really hard till about 12:30 from sort of 10 o'clock. And we'd work to 12:30, and then he'd say, right, in you come for lunch. He said, a quick sandwich. He said, back out again for 1:30. I went, what? You kidding? So you were lucky if you got a 45-minute or an hour break, and then he'd have you out there for another 2 hours in the afternoon. And he was very, very passionate about training, about physical fitness, and about your stamina, and how, he said, it's going to stand you in good stead in the second half of the season. Your stamina, your fitness levels. And it was very important, I have to say. I had a conversation with him. He interviewed me for Radio 5 Live. I was assistant manager in Northern Ireland. We were playing England, and he came to speak to me at Manchester. And it was at Old Trafford, the game. And I said to him, I have to pay tribute to you because you got me in the fittest position of my whole career when I went to the World Cup in 1982. Ross was talking about it, And I mean, that was down to Graham. We can all find stories where he helped every single person in the club. I saw how he helped Nigel Callaghan, Johnny Barnes, all the different players. He had his own special style where he worked out your mental attitude and how to get the best out of you, and that was something special. That was a gift that Graham had.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, I look back at football, and it took till Graham brought in Alan Hodgkinson as a goalkeeping coach for me.
Yeah.
And I must have been, what was that? I'd be aged about 26, 27, and that's the first specialised coaching I'd ever had in a football career. And then when you look back at that, he covered all angles, didn't he? I mean, Alan was as hard as nails, Alan Hodgkinson. And, it was a great thing for me. And my career took off at the same time, really, that Alan became goalkeeping coach at the club. And although it was hard work, you thought that he really cared about you and that, he'd do everything to try and improve you as a player. And I think that with the staff that he had around him and everything, it made it such a special place to be. Yeah.
Now they have a coach for every kind of set piece going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so different now, isn't it? It's unbelievable. They even have sleep coaches now. I mean, it's just bizarre.
I don't need one of them.
No, I don't either. I don't, Paul. I'm the same as you.
I'm a bit confused lately in why, how we manage with one substitute. When you see what's going on these days and whatever, it was a lot harder. The pitches were a lot so different to now. And of course, I tend to wonder if it's all played a part in so many injuries for players, because back in the old days, it was often the case of everyone go out on the pitch, would last the 90 minutes. Perhaps there would be one substitution and that would be it. So when you see what goes on these days, you have to question what is making such a difference to the players' injuries. We did have a few, of course, but just seems these days there's so many more. So
you never see a bit of mud on the pitch now, do you?
Yeah, you can slide 10 yards on your knees now when you're a superhero and scored your goal, and whatever. And you just get up and carry on. If I did that, I wouldn't have any knees left, You dig into the ground and it will all come up around you. Apart from that time, apart from that time in the goal mouth when it all sank down, we had to fill a big hole in the middle of the pitch. So I don't think those kind of things happen.
I heard Jerry talking about training, and I always remember the shadow play without a ball, which I found extremely tough. And the analogy to trellis, when one bit moves, another bit, and everyone was pretending to pass it here, and people running off and pretending to score and everything like that. It just amazed me. I think some of those afternoon sessions were about that, standing there and knowing where you had to be. But when you think about it afterwards, he was absolutely spot on about the different angles, where you moved, where the ball was, where should you be. And you didn't realise it at the time, but his coaching was fantastic, wasn't it?
What about when you had 2 goals to shoot into, Paul?
Oh, yeah, that was another.
I used to love that because I could play out. I used to love all that. Yeah, get your head up. Yeah.
And I think someone mentioned like the staff around him that were absolutely fantastic as well, weren't they?
Oh, brilliant stuff. I mean, you look at some of the players that he bought, they ended up as staff, and they were just great people, weren't they? They had the Graham Taylor ethics about them and the mould put into them, and training was such a joy, even though it was hard. It was so joyful and memorable when you look back at it that, it's just a pleasure to work that hard at times.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a session where you had to lift me into the showers because I had cramp in both legs. Because we did all the running and the goalkeepers had to do the running. Yeah. Well, the goalkeepers had to do all the running, just like the outfield players. And then he thought he'd give the players a rest by doing a shooting session. But there was a goal mouth that was like a sand pit. And so I'd done all the running and then getting up and out of soft sand and all that. And my legs, I just got cramp in both legs and just couldn't carry on.
One of the biggest things for me, I think players like Jerry and that has already been at other clubs, but it wasn't until I went to other clubs that I realised how organised and good it was at Watford, if you know what I mean. And I watched the link earlier. I don't know if anyone else did, about the Alan Durban days and his connection with Stoke or whatever, and also taking some of you players around the local factories and all that. His connection with the community and also insisting on players' connection with the community was second to none as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Special visits to the hospital before Christmas. I remember that as well.
Yeah, the hospital every Christmas was fantastic. We were talking when we all met up the other day about the carol concerts we used to go to, and we get a chicken and a bit of stuffing afterwards, and the chaplain would be up there. It was, it's laughable now, but it was absolutely fantastic at the time.
Yeah, about the chickens. They have very same story with some of the girls that work in the office. They came out with some brilliant memories of it as well.
Yeah, no, it was great. Those things they were different, but they were great for camaraderie between not just the players but the families and like you say, Luke, the whole club. You know, I've been to clubs where you don't know the names of people working at the club unless you ask. But at Watford, that was never the case. Everybody knew everybody, and everybody, you could just talk to people about anything in life, and it was a special place. Yeah. Going back to the bit that you said about the factories and that, and the hospital. I remember we were on a bad run when we went to the hospital, and we were seeing these terminal ill people and things like that. And I remember going back and then going to training, and I think it was Tom Wally who brought us all together and says, if you think you're under pressure, that's what pressure really is. Those people in that hospital. And, you know, it was just things like that, you know, as a footballer, you think your life, you're under pressure and things are bad, but it's not that case at all, because you're just fortunate to be doing a job that you love, whether you're having a bad time or a good time. And it just brought the truth home and made you realise that you were lucky to be associated with such a great club and, you know, a great sport.
Yeah. Was that Stanmore, that one? Was that one at Stanmore? Because I remember the one at Stanmore when he brought all those kids that were
Stanmore,
the two of them were end of life, you know, were pretty close to, you know, passing away themselves with illnesses they had.
Stanmore, Luke,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was also the walking around with blocks of concrete on your head as well, wasn't it? Remember?
Yeah.
That's famous speak as well. Yeah. It did really bring it home to you that, you know, really all you're doing is playing football and kicking the ball around with your mates, and you know you should just enjoy it and relax. And it turned things around within a week, didn't it? After that, I remember it very well.
Yeah.
No, it was brilliant to stuff like that. Absolutely brilliant. You know.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, going back to the staff thing, I remember Rebecca, who worked in the office. She just started. Yeah. She just started, and like everything, Graham had them put her desk right by the door, so the cold draft and everything was coming in. So that's where she had to sit all morning with that. And then halfway through the morning, they sent her off somewhere to collect. What was it? They sent her off to get a glass screwdriver or something. And so she went off in the down as well. You know, so that was her initiation to it. And funny, she was talking about it just before Christmas when she mentioned the very same thing. So, I mean, everyone went through it. Everyone talked about Wayne. You think of some of the things that were Wayne and what Wayne used to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible. I mean, the floodlight one is just the conversation turned to the floodlight escapade the other day. You know, who was it? A player said to him, dared him to do it. And he did. He climbed up the floodlight and was hanging from the floodlight. Who the hell would do that? No cable, no whatever. We just walked out and just doing it on the side of the. It's just madness, all of that. But that was it was just great. And what about the Les Simmons stories with Graham? Not wanting us to play on the pitch on a Friday because we were playing on it on the Saturday. Remember, he wanted to do a practice match on the pitch on a Friday. And he was like, "You're not using my pitch to do that."
No.
That was just fantastic.
Well, he wouldn't let you on, would he? Les was protecting his pitch all the time, you know. He got it ready for the match days, and that was it. So we weren't allowed on it.
Les was a real character.
He was. Les was a character. He used to come and cut my lawn for me.
Jerry, what did it cost you for him to do that?
And were you allowed on it? Was Luther create a beer?
Did he let you walk on it?
Oh, he didn't let me walk on my lawn, let alone the football pitch.
He used to shout at me during games because I used to build a little bit of a mould to put the ball on when I was taking goal kicks so I could get it a bit further. And he used to shout at me from the side of the pitch, "Stop cutting my pitch up, Sherwood." That was in the middle of a game, you know, at Vicarage Road.
Class.
Unbelievable.
Didn't want you doing slide tackles on it either, did he? Because that was a mess.
No, he didn't like any divots. No.
That was great. But I mean, Graham was centre to everything that went on because he was the leader of it all, and regardless of how you may have felt about him, but that respect, even Les with the way he was about the pitch and about the dogs and everything around it, that respect was there from every side. That's what I need to do.
Well, he certainly was. Yeah, he took us. He took us for a journey, didn't he? That was the thing, and he took the players. Some of us before he came hadn't linked up well, and we weren't playing very well, and the club was in quite a bad way. And he, he took us all on a journey. He got the train, and we all got on it, and he said, right, at some point or the other, you might get off at the next stop, but if you stick with me, if you do what I want you to do, there's no telling what we can achieve. And I think his idea right from the beginning, it wasn't just about winning or getting into the next division. It was going right to the top. He had this thing, and of course, Elton being there was able to provide him the goods to make the train go. And if we performed, we stayed on it. And a lot of the players there that he inherited were good players. He used them all. They were all very valuable. And of course, he brought in his selection. And the achievements that we made was quite incredible. And finishing second, and then obviously going on to the cup final and stuff like that, where we had a team that could compete with anyone. So
there's really no need to mention the cup final, was there?
Where Wembley?
Wembley. I was there. I was there.
Yeah, I know you were there. I saw you on telly.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about the cup final.
All right, okay.
What I do want to talk about, because you mentioned it when you said about a journey. Do you remember? Do you remember when we were coming back from whatever game it was on Saturday, and he said to us, "We're going away for some sunshine. Remember, for a break."
We ended up in the Isle of Wight. We were riding around about in Southampton. We thought we were going to France.
That's right, because we all brought snorkels and all sorts of stuff with us, swimming trunks and everything. And he sprung it on us, the bloody Isle of Wight. Then we jumped past Heathrow. Went, we're not going Heathrow. We must go in Gatwick. It was bloody.
That was class. But the years that you have at the club are all fantastic memories. And, we were just part of the journey, and there was different players joined in on the journey. But I've only got fond memories of all the time I was at Watford. And it was a successful period of time, I have to say. Yeah. That team that got the promotion, that everybody tipped us for relegation when we were promoted. And we ended up, as Ross said, finishing runners-up to Liverpool. I mean, that's an incredible story.
Incredible, yeah. Who's going to do that nowadays? Not going to happen, I don't think. Anywhere you go along.
Not at Salford, no.
No. Well, listen, lads, I have to go because my daughter works at Primark, so she starts at 2:00. So
does she?
Yeah,
what?
She works.
You kept that quiet. You think of all the gear we could have got.
She's part-time. She's a student, so she starts work at Primark at 2:00, and I've got to get her in there. So
I can tell by the gear you're wearing, Jerry.
God bless.
Good to see you,
God
Jerry.
bless you, Jerry.
Whiskey, mate.
Cheers, Jerry.
Yeah, good.
Hey, Jerry.
See you, Jerry.
We'll chat sometime, yeah?
No problem, Luther.
And I hope we'll see you over here very soon.
Anytime.
See you, Jerry.
Cheers, Paul.
God bless, mate. Bye-bye.
Good times.
Good times.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, we've spoken about, everybody's mentioned about like training and stuff like that. Match days, right? Match day. Yeah. No, that match day thing, we had to come in and train in the morning, especially at home on the pitch. When the first time we did it, we all looked at each other and said, "What are we coming that time in the morning for?"
The thing about it was that when Elton came and whatever, I remember him coming through the first time I ever saw him. We got the long passageway to the changing rooms at Watford, and all of a sudden the two doors swing open, and Elton's coming through, and he's got all these things going up, and a big hat on and big glasses, and of course high heels and everything. He comes walking down the passageway. So I follow him into the dressing room, and he's in there chatting to all the players with all this paraphernalia on and everything, because he used to be all dressed up like that. And then Graham came in and saw him, and he grabbed hold of him. He said, "What are you doing in here? You've got to get out. you're not allowed in here." You know. So Elton, who was like, you know, a star all around the world and everything, was getting thrown out of the Watford dressing room. I thought that was really funny.
His dressing room.
But that's what Elton was like. You know, it was like he was just you know, part of the club. You know, he wasn't above. He wasn't the hierarchy or anything. He was just part of the clan that was going to produce such wonderful results. So played a very good part. I'll never forget it. And of course, I had it when Elton rang me up when I had my testimonial year, and he just rang me out of the blue and said he's on tour, and he can do a show at the Watford Town Hall for me. You know, and it was totally unexpected and whatever. And, you know, it really was made me very humble, really, to think, you know, that I'd had that much of an effect on him where he would do that. So full credit to him as a manager.
What about that was a fantastic night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great night. What, you know, the gold disc?
Well, the roof came off.
Were you on it as well?
The roof came off the Town Hall, I think. They heard it for miles around.
Hey, remember the gold disc that we did, a single man?
Yeah, I've got it on the wall.
That's brilliant. It's on YouTube. Some of the songs are on YouTube. It's fantastic watching them.
Is it?
But yeah, if you put the name of the songs on well, I think it's Oh Georgia on YouTube, and we're all swaying backwards and forwards. Apart from Pat Malloy. Pat Malloy's going the wrong way, like on the sway.
There it is, lads.
I don't know how many. Yeah. I don't know how many takes we had on that, but I think it was Andy Rankin. He was at the end of the notes. He was hanging on to the notes. He was right behind me, and at the end, he was hanging on to the notes, and they kept doing retakes. Yeah. It's brilliant days, that.
So you guys are ready for Glastonbury next year when Elton does it again, are you? You get the shout.
Oh dear. We'll be able to sway then, Luther, and maybe not.
Maybe no swaying. Somebody has to do the swaying for us, I think.
Shirley wants to see Dua Lipa. That's all he wants to see.
Yeah, I think there'll be a queue.
Who's Dua Lipa? Thanks.
She's playing better forward.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thought he must have done.
Guys, that was great. I want to say thank you all very much for coming on. That was very short notice, and we just thought we'd just experiment this one time to do it. Thank you.
Amazing memories. Amazing memories, and a great man. Yeah.
And then finally, I think it's just a big one from all of us is thank you, Graham, or is everybody now the sign off? Thank you, GT.